Hey everyone, welcome back to the Off Market Podcast. I'm your host, Don Minichino. Today we have with us the beautiful Judy Annunziata, aka the Fruit Queen. We'll get to that nickname in a second if you don't know who Judy is. Hospitality is just like, it's in our genes. We're Italian. Your family like took it to a whole new level. You grew up working in your father's restaurant. You know, talk about that a little bit.
Umberto's?
Yeah.
Umberto's of Mama Maurice's.
Yeah, we all know Umberto's.
Yeah.
We miss it.
It was 45 years. I was pretty much raised, born, everything there. Worked there since I want to say 5 years old. I definitely grew up there. And I learned how to be a business owner by watching my parents sell pizza at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's kind of like a Hollywood start, you know, like there's a movie, it's kind of like a Bronx Tale where like the kids getting involved. And I mean, it's really cool. You don't hear a lot about that these days, right? I mean, listen, it might be a generational thing. It might be the economy, it might just be the way the world works, but you know, nobody wants to like do the same things that their parents were doing anymore. But it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, you and your brother both kind of grew up in that business.
And my sisters,
and
brother-in-law, sister-in-law, everybody was in it. Everybody was in it. Yeah.
Is everybody still in food like you are? I mean, I know your brother Carmine is.
My brother Carmine is. No, not really.
No.
You know.
Everyone just kind of.
I hate to say that COVID changed it, but COVID was a part of it.
Sure.
And, you know, parents were getting older and things were just happening. Yeah. So adjustments happened. I miss it.
Yeah.
I love it. I would go back to it in a heartbeat. There's a lot about the restaurant business that I miss.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of things I don't miss, you know, like the late nights, 2 a.m. and then starting up back up the next day, never having a day off.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's the same now, but a little different.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you mentioned, you know, COVID, pandemic, et cetera, but that's actually what like helped us reconnect was after that.
Yeah.
You know, we started talking about, you know, the strip plaza that your father had owned. And we started talking about, you know, the Umberto's building a little bit. And it's, you know, it's tough because I know it was bittersweet for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like letting a part of your family go, and that's something that's very personal. And it was such an honor to work with you guys.
Thank you.
And sell that building for you, and sell the other one, and you know, now, you know, your parents have, you know, some good passive income for, you know, for a long time. It's tough. I know it's tough letting go of that.
You remember at the closing, I was a crybaby. I cried and cried at the luncheon. I think I cried for a few days. It was, it was a hard nut to swallow. So it was bittersweet. I mean, of all the children, and not that my brother didn't also, but I literally lived there. Like I would stay there while my parents were working, and I would have to go to kindergarten, and I was late every day. You know, it was a huge part of my life. I wanted to be there 24/7. And then I got to that age where I was like, I want to try something different and on my own. But I kind of wish I didn't do that. But then again, I do, because that's how I.
So what was that immediate next step after you had that kind of inflection point?
The immediate next step after I realized that I wanted to do my own thing, I wanted to be my own boss. I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know where. I mean, I dabbled in some things that people don't even know. I owned a hair salon at one point.
Let's go.
It was like a little day spa.
Okay.
I just
tried a bunch of different things.
But I was getting involved in everything with partners. And then I realized that I am better being a sole owner, except me and my brother are always partners in whatever we do. But you know, outside partners, it was very difficult for me. I like to be my own boss.
How did you know so early on that, like, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I just don't know what I'm going to sell, but like, I'm just meant to be my own boss. Like, how did you know that so early?
I knew that at a very young age.
Yeah?
I mean, there's a joke in my household, but my first word was money. And it was, sorry, everyone. It was mom, dad, and then money.
Sure.
And my dad used to laugh about it because he was like, this one's going to be an entrepreneur. I followed in his footsteps.
Everyone needs
I'm
one
a little
in the family.
crazy like he is, you know, dabble a little bit in everything. But I knew once I became the front of the house manager at Umberto's and that I enjoyed making sure that the customers were happy. And if there was a situation, I kind of enjoyed seeing if I could resolve it. And it would be like, got it. You know, it was kind of the thing I did, and I liked it. I enjoyed making them happy. So it was like, I'm going to go that extra step.
Sure.
And you don't have that feeling when you're working for someone.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I'm not doing that extra step. I mean, some people do, but majority of people are like, that's not my business. So I'm not going that extra step. And I wanted to always go above and beyond. And hospitality, most of them, you know, that's pretty much where I ended up too.
Well, you've talked about a lot of the good traits of an entrepreneur, problem solver, a little bit crazy.
A little crazy.
Right? I mean, I feel like you have to be. Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's the stability, like our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, grandparents came out of World War II and they just took any job that they could take because they were just happy to be alive. And then our parents, they were, the next stability generation, right? 9 to 5, pensions, retirement, just be happy with what you got. And that's it. And then like our generation came along and half of us were like, I don't know if we want to do things that way.
Yeah.
But you do have to be a little crazy to like step out of that 9 to 5 mindset and just kind of figure something out. I mean, some people strike it rich real quick and they figure something out immediately when they're 25, 26 and suddenly they've got an empire. But other times, like you've got to fail a few times to figure it out, right?
And then I think we also, as entrepreneurs, we put this belief that failure is when you can't do something, but you need those in order to actually be successful.
Yeah.
I had a hard time dealing with closing businesses and thinking that that was failure and realizing that closing businesses is not failure. It's actually a success, that you're realizing that you got to get to a different point in your life. Yeah. And I had a hard time with it for a while. Yeah. But the smartest thing I ever did was close businesses and merge businesses into one, like I did with my franchise. I merged 4 stores into one. And it's the smartest thing I've ever done.
It's like a success in disguise. Yeah. Like you don't realize it in the moment, but you just you have faith and you're like, you know what? I think a year from now, 2 years from now, or 5 years from now, I'm going to look back at this moment and I'm going to realize that this was a good thing that had to happen.
That blessing in disguise. Yeah. Yeah. It took a long time for me to realize that, because you think expansion means success. Yeah. And so that's the mindset that I was going with. The more I have, the more I do. But and that's also what we learned from our family, keep going, just keep going, work harder, and now we're in that mindset of work smarter, not harder.
Yep. That's a huge change. Yeah. Once again, it's a generational thing. Like our parents and our grandparents told us the more you work, the more you're going to make. But right now,
and the more headaches you get.
Right. The more headaches you get. You're going to build the grit and toughness and all these things. But a lot of us these days are looking around going, well, I'm in my 30s, 40s or whatever. And
50s.
And 40s. And, we're going, I don't want to grind anymore. Like there's a difference. Like the grind culture to me is crazy. I know some industries have to do it. It's like if you own, let's just say, for example, like if you own a vending machine business and you've got 100 locations, like you've got to go out at 4 a.m. every morning and you've got to collect checks and you've got to, you have to grind. Like that's a grind. But,
or you hire somebody to do it for you.
Well, that's just it. Hopefully you get to a point where you can hire people to do those things so you can focus on growing the business. But, what I'm talking about is like as a salesperson, like some people I know, they have their 2 hours every morning where they do lead generation and prospecting and then they do showings and then they do this and then they do that. Like those sort of schedules like never really worked for me. Like I generally know on a grand scheme of things, like what I need to do to like get to the next level for next year. And I have a game plan, like I have a blueprint, but I don't have my days scheduled out like that.
I don't either.
It's just a different mindset. Like, I just feel like that grind culture is just like, just keep grinding out. You're going to figure out, you're going to make it. But I feel like most of those people burn out before they figure it out. I don't want to do that.
I've gone to burnout before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate bringing up COVID.
Have you been like a functional burnout?
Yes.
Do you know what that feels like?
Yes.
It's like
I was
you're projecting to the world, like, I'm okay. I can do this.
Yeah.
And like, one day, like your friends or your family are like, you look crazy.
Yeah.
Like you need to slow down. Like you need to take a week off.
You need to
right?
actually breathe. Like there was times that people were like, breathe. I'm like, whew. Like
sometimes you need someone to just tell you that it's okay to like take a day off. Or like,
I'll be honest, my GM is great at that. Like she was the one that like, go, you don't need to be here. So for a long time, I thought I needed to always be present to be a successful business owner. Yep. Like, gotta be at your store 24/7. In the beginning, I was like that. And then slowly the confidence you get in the team that you have lets you take the time to not be there and do other things to expand your business. For a while, I was playing employee. Like during COVID, we didn't have a lot of staff. So I was playing the delivery driver and then the customer service person from my house at 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. And I was doing it 7 days a week. And it was like, we had no one. And we were that middleman for people. Like if you hadn't seen your grandmother, you sent an arrangement. And I was also playing friend on the phone for people. Like I was their person that they were like, I haven't seen my granddaughter in 20 and 20 months or whatever it was. And I would be like, okay, let's send her a gift. And then we would chit chat. So it was hard. I was playing employee for a long time, and I had to pull out of that. But sometimes it's hard. And that's when I got burnt out. You get burnt out trying to do all the hats.
A lot of times, during the listing periods when we were selling the buildings, I would call you at like 1 or 2 o'clock and you're like, I'm out doing a run. Can I call you back in an hour? And I'm like, what are you doing runs? Like, you're the boss. And you're like, listen,
it's
like, number one, like I have to do it, because if I don't do it, like, it's not going to get done. But number two, sometimes like you got to do things you as a boss, like you say, I wouldn't not do something I would expect my employees to do.
Exactly.
So sometimes you just got to be there and just set the example too, and show them that, hey, like, I'm not some mastermind up in the ivory tower, you're not the Wizard of Oz. Like, I'm down here on the floor with you.
Exactly. Plus, I had a big thing about customers being happy. I'm like, I don't want to make them upset, so I have to get out there before it gets too late, and then they're getting their arrangement too late. Like, I was losing it a little bit.
Yeah,
but I got it back.
But that goes back to what we were talking about before, is that like you grew up with like hospitality just being in your DNA.
It is.
And, to we Italians, food is love. So what better way to express hospitality than with food? And, now you're the fruit queen.
Yeah, I am.
So let's talk about that. How'd you get into edible arrangements?
So originally, my dad was the landlord to the one that was originally in Poughkeepsie. It was in his plaza. And he asked me to do some research for him to see how the tenant was going to be. And I was like, this thing's going to blow up. And I need to get my hands on it.
Blunt honesty. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, great. So, I'm going to let her be a tenant. And I was like, yeah, and I'm going to look into it. And I went to Discovery Day, realized that was, I'm like, oh, wow, you don't have to work 1 million hours like the restaurant business. You just go and the franchise does everything. Well, that's not true. But I don't think I would be as successful as I am with edible arrangements if I didn't start off at the restaurant and have my parents, understanding of work, because it's a lot of work. The franchise is a lot of work. You do have to have your hands in it. You can't just own a franchise and sit back and let it grow on its own.
Sure.
There's a lot of local work you have to do that people don't understand. Yeah, it's a national name.
Sure.
But you've got to keep everybody on top of it.
That's a good point. With franchises, a lot of people feel like, oh, well, the franchise, like the chain just handles all your marketing and your sales and your support mechanisms. And people have this impression that you're just in there doing things.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just there.
But as a franchise owner, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Like, your success is how much work you're going to put into something, how much thought, how much strategy you're going to put into something. You're spending a lot of your own resources growing that business the same way if it was a mom and pop.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel like I do it a little bit more just because I want people to understand that just because it's a franchise doesn't mean I don't have to continue to grow my business. So I think I do it even more so than when I was at Umberto's.
Sure. So you started off with the Poughkeepsie location.
No, I actually started off with the Newburgh location.
Oh, the Newburgh was the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never actually had the Poughkeepsie location.
Okay.
Because there was already an owner.
Gotcha.
So I started off in Newburgh.
Okay, so you kind of studied that, learned from it, and then said,
I did train there.
I want to do this. You trained there.
I did train there. And then I went to Newburgh. I was scared because this is my neck of the woods, Dutchess County. And they were like, oh, no, you have to go over to Orange County. I'm like, people from Dutchess don't cross the bridge.
But there are people in Orange County.
Yeah. So I crossed the bridge. I went to Newburgh.
Yeah.
I've been there 20 years. But in 1 year's time, I opened up Newburgh. Then 2 months later, I opened up Middletown. And then 2 months later, I opened up Monroe. And then several years later, I opened up Kingston. And then
does it get easier with each one that you open?
No.
There's no economies of scale there. I mean, at some point,
it got easier to handle, but
it's still the same problems with each location, right? The same challenges, right?
Yeah, different, same challenges, but different because of the location. But, it was just doing it all over again. You knew it was coming, whatever the challenge was. Sure. But you were just like, it's not, it doesn't bother you as much. Yeah. That's what it is. You get used to it, but there's still the same challenges. Okay.
Is it kind of a similar marketing and sales plan for each location? I know the franchise gives you a certain amount of help. They give you a blueprint, but you still have to execute it.
Yeah. I mean, they do it on a national level. So it's not like they're zoning in on your location. So you have to promote your own location.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I've been, and then I'd say the last couple of years, I've been kind of just letting everybody know they can order from us. And I don't think people understand it's kind of like FTD where you can call a location and just make that your primary place that you order and then just send it out all throughout the US.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying, and I am still trying to like let people understand that I can be that person for you for gift giving. So yeah, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of challenges, but I think I'm getting it. It's 20 years. I think I might almost have it down.
Yeah. At what point did you get the nickname Fruit Queen?
It was the Orange County Chamber.
Okay.
And I was originally the pizza princess at Umberto's, and I was saying that
Fruit Queen sounds much more elegant.
I know, but there was a little girl that used to come in.
Yep.
And she would every Friday with her dad, and I was the pizza princess. And then I was mentioning that at the chamber, and somebody said, "Well, now you're the Fruit Queen." And I was like, "Oh wow," because I was older. Yeah, and I was like, "Okay." And then we ran with it. Like it worked, and we ran with it. It was a way to keep me as being different than everybody else that owned an edible arrangement. There was a Fruit Queen instead of Judy Annunziata.
Yeah,
I think if you asked a lot of people who the Fruit Queen is, I don't think they say Judy Annunziata. They're like, I don't know her. Thought her name's. I have her in my phone as Fruit Queen.
You're just this persona.
Exactly. I'm Madonna.
Nobody knows who she really is, but she's running shit.
She does something with fruit.
Yeah. So take it from there. So first of all, stepping back a little bit. So you and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago when I asked you to be a guest. Like I was thinking, like, hey, like I know we did some real estate stuff together, but we've known each other a long time, and you were like, Don, we've known each other for like 20 years.
Yeah,
and I just like
messed it all up.
I did, and I forgot that like we had.
You went straight to Orange County.
I did,
and I was like, no, Don, we both lived in Dutchess. We know each other.
Way back before the chambers had merged, and there was the hub,
Greater Southern Dutchess
Greater Southern Dutchess Chamber, and the hub was their young professionals group.
And I was emceeing an event.
Yep, and I remember I think I was working for Josh Summers at that point. I think I was in marketing at Focus Media. And I was trying to figure out like, what is networking? Like you're taught what networking is, but like sometimes like you're never really told like how to do it or what to do. And, immediately I was just like, oh, maybe I just need to join some of these young professionals organizations. And I was a total fish out of water at that point in my career. I had no idea what I was doing.
And here I am on a mic screaming at a pig roast. Everybody get together.
and I'm like, man, how do I get to that status? But in all honesty though, like when you're young and you're networking, and you're looking at people that are either just around your age or even just a little bit older, and you see what they're doing, and you're like, oh man, like I want to do that. Like I need to do more stuff like that. Like, so you get involved in committees, you get involved in boards, and next thing it just kind of like grows into this thing, and like now I'm just like helping people get to know me. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
So like that personal branding around being called the Fruit Queen. It's like, well, suddenly you've got like this moniker. Suddenly you've got like this brand, and like you didn't come up with it. Like somebody else labeled you it, and you're like, that's it.
Well, I was working with a gentleman, Chris Masters. He was helping me with advertising and all that, and he was like, "You've got to run with that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, all right, we'll do it. Let's do it." And it really like immediately stuck.
Yeah. Do you have a crown?
I do.
Where is it?
It's at home. I don't want everybody to steal my crown. I mean, it would be a little weird if I walked around with my crown on.
It would be. It'd be a little pretentious.
Little.
It's okay.
He gave me a little, like little wand thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, you wear that, crown with pride.
I do.
Not literally, but also just figuratively, right? You feel like you've come to this point where, you spent a lot of time figuring stuff out, like most of us do, like all entrepreneurs do. And, you've got to this point where, everyone kind of feels like there's this point where they're going to feel like they've made it. I don't know if that really exists, but like,
I'm still looking.
Right. I feel like I've had some moments where I've like felt proud of myself for making a certain decision, jumping from a 9-to-5 job into, doing commercial real estate full time. And realizing that like, oh, I might not collect a paycheck for the next year or two. Like, I'm just going to figure this out. And like, you have those moments where you're like, yeah, proud of myself. I made that jump. I believed in myself. Because like, who else is going to?
Exactly.
Right. But, I don't know. Like, does anyone really make it? Does anyone really have that point where they're like, this is my apex? Like, that sounds boring to me. Right.
I don't think you ever feel like you've reached it. You're always continuing trying to reach, and then you get to like that goal or that dream, and then you're like, I want more.
What's next?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I want to say it's a good and a bad thing, but I I get it from my parents. So I'm going to say it's from my Italian heritage. Like, you just are never happy. You got to keep going with something, but it challenges you. I guess it also keeps you young.
Yeah.
And it challenges me, but it's like, I don't know what my next step's going to be.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it.
But that's part of the fun of it too, is that, you know what you like, you know what you enjoy doing, you know what you're good at. And you never know when the next opportunity is going to come along. Like when I was probably around 30 years old, I just came up with this personal policy to where I was going to like rethink my career every 5 years. And, so I worked, at Focus for like 6 or 7 years. I switched gears a little bit. I did economic development for 5 years, and almost right on the mark, I was like, all right, I've done this. Like, this is going to be the past soon. Like, what's next? And then commercial real estate came, and I'm going into my 7th year now as a broker. And like around that 5-year mark, I did the same assessment. And I said, okay, like, am I happy with this career change? Do I enjoy it? All these questions, am I a millionaire? No. But you know what? Like, I'll figure it out. I'll get there. And I like had this moment where I was like, you know what? Like, this is it. Like, I love doing commercial real estate. Like, it's fun. Like, you get to help people, save for retirement. You get to help there's a lot of mom and pop investors around here, small investors that are doing this part-time.
Yeah.
And so like to have a broker or a property manager, kind of on their side for a future retirement fund, like that helps. And I love it. And that's where I like to be.
I don't think a lot of people know, but I obviously had the restaurant always under my belt. And I went from, every little menial job at the restaurant. Then I became front of the house manager, banquet manager. But then I left and I became a paralegal, and I was gone and then worked at the restaurant on the weekend. And I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to be a paralegal and at first, and then be an attorney. And I just wasn't happy. Like, there was not that same feeling of happiness after I brought a meal out to a table and the customer had that instant gratification. And I would always find myself back at the restaurant, and I was looking for that immediate gratification of making people happy. And it was like food. Okay. And I left the legal world. I thought I'd go back, and I didn't. I thought I needed to change locations. I did that too, and didn't work. I was doing it for about 6-7 years.
Okay.
And then, but always still had the restaurant on the weekends.
Well, it seems like little Judy would have loved to become an attorney and make a lot of money.
Exactly, because she liked the money word.
But little Judy grew up.
Little Judy grew up.
And realized there's more to life than money.
Exactly. And I didn't mind, hustling. Definitely a hustler. And then when the franchise came about, well, just before the franchise, I took on the hair salon. And that was another thing to try. But it was being an entrepreneur in a different way. A little difficult, but learned. And then I got to learn all my legal, like all the stuff that I learned in the legal world, I got to bring into my entrepreneurial world.
Sure.
So that was fun. But the franchise was a different, like, I'm the boss, but I'm not. I get to have final say in my store, but then I also have to get approval from the corporate office, who usually lets me do what I need.
A little bit of accountability is
a little bit of accountability.
I will admit, there have been some times as a commercial real estate agent where I've said, you know what? There's no one to tell me that I have to go to work today, and I've taken the day off. And
do you feel guilty when you do that?
I don't feel guilty. I feel ashamed of myself.
So that's a bad thing too. Like, I feel like I get that from my parents. Like, there's
I feel like I
guilt.
let myself down the next day.
Yeah,
it's not guilt. It's shame.
It's shame. Like, you should have gone to work, right?
I can't look at myself in the mirror the next morning.
Well, I don't know what you're doing, but
yeah, like, come on, Don, what are you doing?
No, I used to say to my managers, I would be like, I'm so sorry about. She's like, why are you even explaining yourself? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm used to working 7 days a week, and taking a day, a personal day, seems a little, bad, Judy. But now I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I did, because I thought you had to work 100 hours, and that meant you were successful.
Yeah.
And I thought, the hustle and the grind had to keep going. And now I'm like, okay, there are people I can trust to do the grinding and the hustling while I do other things, and also try to enjoy a little bit my family more now. Sure. I missed a lot of things running around, and now I'm like, oh, family, yes, we're getting older. Watching my nieces get married and have kids is like blowing my mind. But
I know. My oldest niece got married last summer.
It makes you feel old.
I was like, oh my God. She got married like 9 months after I did.
Oh.
I was like, was like, me and my niece are gonna have kids around the same time.
Yeah.
This is gonna get weird. This is gonna get fun.
It's gonna be fun though.
But you're right. I mean, being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of pros and cons. A lot of people look at business owners like we're all rich for some reason. Like, oh, look at you driving this car and look at you doing this. It's like, you don't see all the behind the scenes work that goes into it.
We're ducks. We're on the top. We're all fine, and underneath we're pedaling like crazy.
That's a really good analogy. It's a really good way to put it.
It's the truth. You don't never let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, this is funny. I was just talking about this morning, but my mom used to always say, "Put a little lipstick on," right? And the point of that, I thought she really meant to like go fix your makeup. It meant like go step back for a minute, gather yourself, go in the ladies' room, look yourself in the face, put a little lipstick on, come back out and deal with it because you got things to handle. And I used to just be like, why are you saying this right in the middle of our slam? We're slammed right now, Mom. You want me? She was just like, take a moment and gather yourself and get back in there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I have to say that that's where I'm at. I'm like, I'm gathering myself now instead of just, I still go crazy. I mean, on a holiday, it's no different for me as it was 20 years ago. I still am running like crazy on a major holiday, screaming. Everybody's like, oh gosh, she's losing her mind. But
Speaking of gathering yourself, I do remember you telling me a few years ago that like, I don't like social media videos. I'm not going to do these things. I'm not that person. I'm not good on camera. I'm not this. I'm not that.
Yeah.
You do more videos than I do.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're really good.
That.
Some of them are really funny.
Yeah.
And it's important to just be lighthearted. Like, you're selling fruit. Have fun with it. And your videos are great.
So I'll be honest. I would never have done them. I have a great crew of guys that work with me from Vivo. And Joe called me up and said, you've got to do this. So I was like, all right, let's try it. I was so scared. You could see it from the first video. I was so nervous. Who knew that I would end up doing them like I do? And
do you enjoy it?
I love that
you
time.
Love I do
love it.
Just admit it.
Shh, don't tell them.
You
because
like
if I tell them I like it,
Judy, I'm giving you permission to enjoy things.
I do.
You can enjoy
but what people don't know is I really have no idea what we're going to film that day. Like he literally tells me 1 minute before it happens.
Really?
So some of the ones that's why there's a lot of laughing. Some of the ones that like he throws at me, I'm like, did you really just ask me that? And then I have to just run with it.
Yeah.
He loves the spontaneous response from me.
See, that's pretty good. Like our content shoot days are kind of a blend, so like we have certain things like, we go to a new listing, we film to promote the listing or a recent deal that was done. And then, my content creator, I call her my TikTok girl. She's, 23, 24 years old and just knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. She's like, oh, well, this is trending. We should try this. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. Seems a little goofy to me.
Yeah, I have some of those.
She's like, let's try it. And if you don't like it, we don't have to use it. But it's important to have like those other people around us who are specialists in their field and tell us, hey, listen, this works. Trust me. And, even though it might feel awkward or you just don't like it, sometimes I feel like I'm turning into my dad. Like,
but as an entrepreneur, and Italian, you're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then they tell you and you're like, okay, you know best. All right, I'll do it.
Sometimes you just gotta let go of control.
Oh, that's a hard thing.
It's really tough. I got hypnotized in front of a crowd of like 400 people at Bananas back in the day. Do you remember Bananas Comedy Club? I was like 19 or 20 years old, and I'd always been kind of like this closed off kid. Like I just wasn't outgoing. I was just afraid of sharing myself with the world. just didn't come of age yet. And it was Denny Moore was the comedian, and he pulled like 25 people up on stage and did kind of like all these little like these little test exercises, as he used to call them, just to see who was really like open to suggestion. And I got pulled up on stage and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. And so I just like in that moment, I told myself like, just pretend nobody else is here and just do whatever this guy tells you to do.
Yeah, not me.
And that was one of my many kind of like aha moments.
Oh.
And we were up on stage for 2 hours, and like being hypnotized is actually pretty fun. You're just like letting go of your inhibitions. And it was the late night show. So it was a little R, a little R. I'll leave the details out because I know my nieces and nephews watch my podcast. But, you know, the show was over and you just kind of snap out of it and you wake up and you just go back to your table. And my sisters were like, how was it, this and that? I was like, I kind of remember some parts, but like, I don't remember some of it. But it was just this very like liberating feeling of just realizing that like, just let go, man. Just let go.
And did you let it go? You did.
I did for the most part. But that was definitely like a big inflection point.
The rest of that story is all about off camera.
That'll be on the B side. And the kids won't understand what that means, but it's the opposite side of the cassette, which you probably don't know what that is either.
But. I was going to say, you're blowing their mind right now.
I know. They're like, how old is this guy? I thought he was a lot younger than he is. So, Judy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun. Everyone, Fruit Queen, follow her on Instagram, One Fruit Queen. We'll tag her in the comments as well. Thank you guys for checking us out.
Thank you.